Hi, everybody. As you can probably hear from my voice, I have been quite sick the last couple of days. So, please excuse me if I cough or something like that. It happens. That's one of the reasons I didn't post a video yesterday like I usually do. I've been so exhausted lately. So this video might be a little bit short, but I just wanted to pop on here and say hi. So far, the only thing that's been helping has been Halls and Mucinex. I've been trying like Dayquil. One of my customers actually suggested honey and onions. It was onions boiled in honey, but I was gonna do just honey infused with onions. So I made that last night, so I guess we'll see if it works, huh? I'll see if I can pop back on here tomorrow and let you know. But yeah, it's been pretty exhausting lately. But that brought up something that I wanted to talk about, and that was, self-love and self-care. Especially when you're sick and things like that. I know a lot of people have this notion that a lot of people actually have that feeling, me included sometimes, that they are, if they're not productive, then they're worthless or something to that effect. Especially those of us who have endured abuse and like narcissistic abuse and things like that. We get that notion in our heads that, if we're not productive, then we're worthless. And that is something that a lot of people struggle with. I mean, society has a tendency of ingraining the idea that productivity equals worth. I was actually listening to somebody, it's Aaron Doughty. I'll see if I can link some of his videos, but he is a life coach, and he brought up the other day in one of his videos that we seem to lose the idea of our self-worth in society's image of what being worthy truly is. Society has, these ideas and these nice little labels and stuff like that. And, it's a capitalist society, so it feeds into greed and things like that. So the idea of how much money you make is how much you're worth. And that's not true at all. You are worth so much more than what you make per hour, per year, whatever, than whatever side hustles that, you feel you need to do. Please understand that it doesn't matter, how much you make, how much you don't make, how much you feel like you're lacking. You are worthy of it. You are worthwhile, and you are a blessing to this planet. And that's every single one of you. You are a blessing to this planet. And, the thing is like we tie things like self-care and self-love into the idea of how worthy are we of it. And that's just it. Self-love, self-care, acknowledgement, worthiness, things like that are what you deserve. Just initially, just being born, it's what you deserve. You deserve your acknowledgement, your love, your care, least, at very, very least. You know, I've been talking to a lot of friends. One of my good friends brought up, and I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. You cannot pour from an empty cup, you know, and I'm guilty of that myself. You know, I was actually talking to my therapist today about, you know, the idea that I've caught myself, even recently, like in the last couple of days, I've caught myself thinking, well, this person needs this and they need me and they need, you know, but I need to lay down for a minute. I'm getting kind of dizzy, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, but I can go do this and then go lay down. No, I finally stopped myself and said, no, you're sick. You're not feeling good. You're trying to heal, you know? I mean, I usually, you know, I put a lot of emphasis on like internal feelings and, you know, emotional feelings and, you know, emotional healing. And I put a lot of emphasis on that. That so much so that sometimes I forget that my physical body needs to be healed too. I mean, I think that's, you know, just kind of an empath thing, you know, because I have talked to other people about it, about how they're absolutely exhausted and yet this person needs this done, this person needs this done, and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, well, I can push my body, you know, and I can push my body until the breaking point. Yeah, you can. But then what are you going to do? I mean, if you break, then you're not even going to be able to help yourself, let alone anybody else. So, I mean, it's very important to, you know, recognize that your whole self deserves to be healed. It deserves to be loved. By yourself, especially, you know? So, I mean, sometimes it breaks down to having those conversations with yourself of, you know, I mean, whether you're emotionally exhausted or physically exhausted, both of those things, you have to sit down and ask yourself, am I exhausted? Am I too exhausted to do this right now? And you have to be true with yourself as well. You got to be truthful with yourself and recognize that you're not indestructible and you shouldn't have to be. You know, you don't have to please everybody. You know, you just got to please yourself. You got to make sure, as long as you're not hurting anybody, do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel good. You know, also on that note, as speaking as an ex-alcoholic, you know, do what makes you feel good, yes, but recognize that, you know, just because it makes you feel good now doesn't mean that it'll make you feel good later. I joke around about how, you know, a hangover at my age is pretty much worse than recovering from minor surgery. Oh, sorry, excuse me. One of the things about, you know, about being sick is just like, you know, I'm sitting there going, wait, this isn't fair. Why do I feel hungover? I didn't drink anything. So, I mean, you know, do what feels good to you and what you think you would benefit from in the future. How about that? Let's go with that one. You know, it's just because, you know, you're enjoying, you know, alcohol especially, or something to that effect, or another addiction right now, you know, is it really going to benefit you in the long run? That's kind of one of the things that I think of, you know, each time I get my craving or something like that back. I have the means to get it if I really wanted to. But when I think about it, I'm just like, no, it might be enjoyable for a little bit, but the price I'd have to pay for it is just not a price I'd be willing to give. I mean, when I have times like that, I think about my kids mostly, and everything that I lost when I fell down that rabbit hole. And that is not a price that I'm willing to pay. I mean, the last couple of days, my kids have been so sweet. Mom, do you need anything? Mom, can I get you anything? I mean, and or the kids that don't live with me have been, how are you feeling? Are you okay? I hope you get better soon. It's at least it shows that they're thinking about me and they're sending, healing vibes and love in my direction. And, to me, that's one of the best gifts you could ever get, So, on that note, I am going to go make myself some tea and possibly even take a nap because I am still healing. And I know that, there are some things that I will need to power through, at least as much as I can, one of the reasons I love the place that I work is that they're very understanding, especially because of things like this always come up, it always happens when you work in any type of customer service, so, but I will still have to power through it, so I'm going to get as much rest as I can. I'm going to try this honey and onions here in a couple hours, because that's when it'll be 24 hours to infuse, and I'm going to heal up for you guys, okay? How about that? I'm going to heal up for myself, mainly, and I'm going to heal up for you guys. So, and why would I do something like that for you? I mean, because you deserve it.